Nothing fails all at once. It fails in quiet approvals that cannot be revoked. Once the thresholds drift, every later decision inherits the error. Pressure does not arrive later. It is already present in what is allowed to pass unnoticed. The cost is paid before anyone can name it. Control is not a moment of correction. It is the refusal to create debt that compounds silently. Leave early, and the alignment that matters remains invisible. Mass intake begins with no margin for hesitation, where volume tests every upstream assumption at once. Early separation determines whether disorder compounds quietly or stability is earned immediately. Flow alignment locks in trajectory, because imbalance here multiplies stress downstream without warning. Once momentum is set, reversal costs far more than early restraint. Hidden contamination is removed without ceremony, because tolerance at this stage defines everything that survives later pressure. Precision here prevents consequences that never announce themselves. Continuous motion fills the hall, where systems agree or fight each other relentlessly. When coordination slips, loss accumulates faster than anyone admits. Outer layers surrender, under force marking the first irreversible change in material identity. Control determines whether reduction strengthens yield or quietly destroys it. Parallel action magnifies outcomes, because uniformity protects throughput, while inconsistency fractures trust. Failure here echoes across every following transformation. Structure breaks down deliberately, turning potential into controlled vulnerability. Once size is reduced, there is no return to neutrality. Heat and moisture recalibrate resistance, preparing material for forces it cannot resist later. Conditioning mistakes do not forgive the compound. Thermal balance becomes the final buffer between efficiency and collapse. Excess or deficit shifts everything that follows beyond correction. Understanding separates operators from observers, because silence here often equals missed recognition of irreversible drift. Pressing begins where pressure replaces patience, extracting value without room for improvisation. Once compression starts, hesitation only wastes energy. Mechanical force demands respect, because imbalance converts power into damage instantly. Consistency here defines whether yield stabilizes or degrades invisibly. Oil emerges quietly, but its path is already decided by earlier discipline. Extraction rewards precision, long before it shows profit. Solids and liquids part ways under systems that tolerate no confusion. Separation errors are subtle, but their cost compounds relentlessly. Recovery depends on circulation, behaving exactly as intended without shortcuts. When flow falters, losses hide inside complexity. Parallel extraction magnifies risk and reward equally because scale forgives nothing. One weak line undermines the whole system. Solvent leaves nothing unchanged, only more exposed. Removal must be absolute because residue poisons every future assumption. Heat drives off what cannot remain, finalizing a commitment already made. Once stripped material cannot mask earlier negligence. Recovery closes the loop, where loss becomes either controlled or permanent. Precision here determines whether efficiency is reclaimed or abandoned.
The solvent meal advances through internal stages, cutaway view of lifting and dropping motion, then a side view of steady progression.
Clarification slows everything deliberately, allowing gravity and time to reveal truth.
As the heavier impurities
separate
drift downward,
only
the slow
if patience
separation motion
is enforced.
begins.
Centrifugal
This is followed
force
by a steady,
accelerates
consistent
judgment,
circulation.
pushing errors outward without debate. Separation here decides what qualifies to continue. Chemical balance tests, restraint because reaction without control creates irreversible deviation. Neutralization punishes approximation. Degumming and settling reward those who waited earlier, penalizing haste now. Clean flow reflects disciplined decisions already locked in. Refining removes the last tolerance for error, where purity replaces flexibility entirely. Each stage narrows options until only correctness survives. Bleaching and filtration erase evidence of struggle, but not its cost. What remains carries the weight of every prior choice. Deodorization finalizes identity, stripping memory along with volatility. Once complete, the process offers no appeal. Final transfer commits output to consequence, where uniformity signals success without celebration. Completion arrives quietly, because all risk has already been resolved. All motion has resolved, and what exists now cannot be adjusted without becoming something else. Few recognize which constraints matter, because outcomes conceal the decisions that quietly determine them. Recognition separates operators from observers, and alignment grants access that curiosity never does.